There is a good reason that narcissistic abuse victims develop an obsession or avoidance when it comes to cleaning. It's not just about keeping things tidy. It's about control, comfort, and emotional survival. For some, cleaning becomes a way to regain a sense of order in a world that once felt chaotic and unpredictable. For others, the mere thought of cleaning might trigger memories of manipulation or criticism, making them avoid it entirely. Whether it's a strong need to clean every surface or a deep unwillingness to even touch a broom, these behaviors are often closely connected to the emotional damage caused by narcissistic abuse. Let's dive into why this happens and how it affects those who've been through it. Are you ready for number 1? Control over environment. When everything feels out of control, the only thing some victims of narcissistic abuse can manage is their environment. Losing independence can leave them feeling powerless, leading to obsessive cleaning or complete avoidance as coping mechanisms. Cleaning becomes a way to create order in chaos, while avoiding it reflects emotional detachment. Psychologist Dr. Lori Helgo explains that people who are gaslighted or controlled often focus on small tasks to regain a sense of control. On the other hand, life coach Steve G. Jones notes that avoidance can be a defense against emotional overload. In both cases, it's not about the mess. It's about coping with the emotional wreckage of abuse. Let's talk about number 2. Perfectionism. Perfection is an illusion, but if you're always told you need to be perfect, it becomes an unreachable goal. If you've been in a narcissistic relationship, you've probably been conditioned to believe that nothing is ever good enough. Narcissists often demand perfection, whether it's in their appearance, behavior, or even the smallest details around them. Over time, victims internalize this need for flawlessness. When they're always judged and criticized, they may obsess over small details, like cleaning, just to feel some control or gain approval. It's as if maintaining an immaculate environment is the only way to keep the chaos at bay. The obsession with perfection traps victims in stress and guilt as they try to create fleeting peace in a chaotic environment. Let's move on to number 3. Self-soothing. Narcissistic abuse often leaves you feeling anxious and unsettled due to the chaos and emotional turmoil. Cleaning, in this case, can serve as a form of self-soothing. The repetitive motion of cleaning, whether it's wiping down counters or organizing books, can give you a temporary sense of calm and relief. Psychologist Dr. Stephanie Sarkis explains, when a person feels emotionally overwhelmed, simple, repetitive tasks can help distract the mind and reduce anxiety. So, for victims of narcissistic abuse, cleaning can offer a momentary break from the mental overload and emotional chaos. On the flip side, if cleaning becomes overwhelming, you might avoid it entirely. The mess might feel like a representation of the internal chaos you're experiencing, and facing it might bring up feelings of helplessness. Avoiding the cleaning might provide a temporary escape from those emotions, even though it doesn't solve the underlying problem. You shouldn't miss number 4. Neglect of self-care. Neglecting one part of your life can slowly bleed into every other part. For victims of narcissistic abuse, it's not just physical neglect, but also reflects their mental and emotional well-being. If you've been abused in this way, you might find yourself avoiding cleaning, because it's a reflection of how you're neglecting yourself. Victims who lose their self-worth may feel undeserving of the care needed to maintain their environment. Cleaning becomes another task that feels too daunting or unnecessary when you're already dealing with emotional wounds. On the other hand, obsessing over cleaning can also serve as a way to distract yourself from this deeper neglect. It's like putting all your energy into something external to avoid facing inner turmoil. But, unfortunately, no matter how much you clean or organize, it doesn't fix the underlying emotional damage caused by the abuse. Are you still up for number 5? Emotional numbness. Narcissistic abuse can leave you feeling numb, like you're just going through the motions without truly feeling anything. In cases like this, cleaning or anything related to self-care can feel like a monumental task. Victims often become emotionally numb as a way to protect themselves from the constant emotional onslaught they've experienced. Psychologist Dr. Lindsay C. Gibson explains that emotional numbness is a defense mechanism that helps victims survive, but also disconnects them from self-care and motivation. In these moments, the act of cleaning or organizing may feel like just another reminder of how exhausted or overwhelmed you feel emotionally. Avoiding cleaning entirely can be another way that this emotional numbness shows up. When you're emotionally drained, cleaning feels so exhausting that it's easier to ignore it than face it. Your emotions are too buried to care about the state of your surroundings, so you disconnect from the task altogether. It's not laziness or neglect, it's just a form of emotional survival. Here comes number 6. Desire to hide evidence. Have you ever felt like if you ignore something long enough, it might just disappear, or no one will notice? In cases of narcissistic abuse, the fear of exposure can be incredibly powerful. Victims may avoid cleaning because they're afraid it will reveal the signs of abuse, like emotional or physical damage. Psychologist Dr. Judith Orloff explains that victims hide their suffering out of fear it will be used against them or judged by others. On the other hand, some victims might obsessively clean to try to erase any trace of their trauma. Cleaning can feel like a way to remove the evidence, not just from their environment, but from themselves. They think as if making things spotless can somehow erase the emotional stains. But this cycle is never truly satisfying, because no matter how clean their surroundings are, the emotional scars remain. Psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasula explains that the urge to hide evidence comes from the fear that others won't understand or might blame the victim. In this way, cleaning or avoiding it entirely becomes a way of coping with the shame or fear of judgment. Victims are trying to keep the pain out of sight to protect both their image and their emotional well-being. Moving on to number 7, low energy or depression. Narcissistic abuse leaves you feeling emotionally and physically drained, like you've been running on empty for too long. It can feel like there's no energy left for anything else, even simple tasks like cleaning. Psychologist Dr. Christine Podesky says that depression and emotional exhaustion often go together, making it harder to do tasks, even simple ones. Narcissists are energy vampires. After constantly trying to please or avoid conflict with them, your energy takes a serious hit. It makes tasks like cleaning feel overwhelming. On the flip side, some victims obsessively clean to regain control. However, the energy it takes leaves them even more exhausted. It creates a cycle of trying to clean, but your depression or low energy makes it harder to follow through. As Dr. Karen Swartz, a psychiatrist at Johns Hopkins Medicine, puts it, when depression sets in, everything becomes harder. even the things that used to bring us joy or a sense of accomplishment. Finally, we're down to number 8. Isolation. Being isolated by a narcissist can leave you feeling lonely, disconnected, and unsure of how to fill the emptiness. In these moments, cleaning can become more than just a chore. It can become a way to cope. It's a way to keep yourself busy when you're alone and help distract you from the loneliness and emotional pain of isolation. According to Dr. Lori Helgo, a psychologist and expert in introversion, when we're isolated, we often turn to habits or routines to give our minds something to focus on. For some, this becomes an obsession with cleaning or organizing as a way to bring order to the chaos around them. In a sense, cleaning can give you a sense of purpose and control when everything else feels out of reach. In the end, the way narcissistic abuse victims approach cleaning has everything to do with trying to cope with the emotional turmoil they've been through. It's important to remember that these behaviors are not about being clean freaks or lazy. They're survival mechanisms shaped by the abuse. Understanding this connection can help bring more compassion and less judgment toward those who may be struggling with it. Healing takes time, and even small steps toward letting go of these habits can make a big difference.